Welcome to the Great Distraction.
How's it going, everyone? This is The Great Distraction, and today the topic of discussion is part of one of our series. The series is called Altered States, and the individual topic is alcohol. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-host Thomas.
How's it going?
Rick.
Hey, everybody.
And Glenn.
Hello, folks.
Thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder. And as always, we would love to hear from you guys. Questions, comments, and topic suggestions are always welcome. You can contact us on Facebook or by email at greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com. So this is the first of this particular series. We have several different series that a couple of them we've already started. This one's a little different. This particular series, Altered States, again is the name, we're going to focus on individual drugs, essentially, and go over background on them, variations, names, dosages, costs, effects, bad side effects, why use it, that kind of stuff. And we have laid out a format here that we're going to try and copy for each one that we go over. So that kind of each time we almost like a review, if you will, but at least it gives us a kind of a structure for how we present each of the information on each of these individual drugs. And at the end, we're going to do kind of a round robin deal where we all discuss our either experiences or personal preferences or why it is we use each of these substances and what value or not value, because in some cases it's not good, it brings or takes from your life. And we figured we would start out with alcohol because, well, we're testing this format, we're testing this series, and all of us, and probably most of you, are very familiar with this particular drug because in our country and in our culture, this is probably one of society's most accepted, albeit hated to some degree, drugs, aside from caffeine and nicotine or tobacco. I don't really know what. I guess nicotine's
the drug.
Nicotine's the drug. Okay. So aside from those two, I don't think anything's more common than alcohol, though I'm sure some pharmaceuticals are quickly catching up, but we'll get to that at a later date. All of those will definitely be part of this series to give you an idea of how we're heading with this. Okay, that's how it's going to work. Alcohol, I'm assuming most of you know quite a bit about it. I tried to put together a few things that you might not have thought of before, or maybe a few questions that most people don't think to ask. But I figured there's got to be a little bit of background on alcohol that most people don't know about, or at least find interesting to hear a little bit about. But again, going along with this format that we're going to try and hold for each drug type, I'm going to still go through those same questions. So the first one on the list is, what is this drug? Well, alcohol is a central nervous system suppressant, and it is actually, this one kind of surprised me, but plays right well into my experiences with it. It is considered a psychoactive substance. Now, psychoactive puts it right there with marijuana, LSD, other psilocybin, other psychedelic substances. Now, that might sound weird depending on how your use of alcohol has been in your life. As a matter of fact, even marijuana is considered a psychoactive substance, and so we can go, because I found this, like I said, I found this kind of interesting. It wasn't until somebody introduced me into dabbing or doing the heavy concentrates that are extremely high, and I'm sure all these guys can comment on this too, that are extremely high THC.
Oh, no, nothing about
that. So
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Sometimes you don't get the psychoactive nature of psychoactive substances until you have exposed yourself to very high doses. And in the case of oils from marijuana, your super high, good quality flower tree weed is, if you're lucky, 21, 26%. There's some really good stuff out to 26%. Most is like 14, 15, something like that, percentage of THC content. these oils, I think, start around 67 and go all the way up to
Oh, yeah.
80s in the 80s. I mean, so it's like these, and it's ridiculously smooth. So you can really, really dose
It
yourself.
ain't your grandma's joint.
No, you can really dose yourself with working with those substances. I realize that's not alcohol, but my point to that is if you haven't messed with that high of a dose, same thing with alcohol, you can really extract different properties of that drug that you might not have dealt with before. And there is some psychoactive traits that are common among other psychoactive substances that you can pull from alcohol or experience from alcohol if you get into the higher doses. And it comes with some serious side effects, but
Blackout.
oh,
like
man.
praying to the porcelain god.
Oh yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. We'll get into that as we go on. Excuse me. Origin. It isn't really super clear where this started. We actually did an episode on beer, which kind of goes along the lines of this as well. But it looked more like wine was actually earlier. But anyway, that aside, yeah, as we're all partaking in a beverage here as we do. And as a matter of fact, it was kind of ironic we ended up doing this episode today because I think Glenn and I are nursing a terrible hangover from a wonderful party we had last night. So
It feels so nice.
it's very appropriate for covering this topic today. But anyway, origin. So there is evidence of alcohol being made dating back to 7,000 BC. So that's over 9,000 years ago. That's pretty crazy. Humans have been ingesting and partaking in this drug for a long damn time. Which, as we continue through this series, you'll hear that that's actually common among a lot of these substances, except for the ones that are more recently in human history synthesized. But yeah, a lot of these are very old and have been done for eons, man. I mean, 9,000 years, that's pretty crazy. Millennia, I guess, is probably the better word to use there. But anyway, costs for this particular drug. Well, I guess it depends on how baller you are. I mean,
Yeah, you can make a batch of beer or some basic grain alcohol in your backyard and not cost a whole lot more than
or you can go bum some drinks off your buddy for free.
shit.
Thunderbird's pretty cheap.
Or Pabst, dude.
Yep.
Or
Some fortified wine.
yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, some wine in a box, right? Costs vary greatly on this particular drug. I mean, everything from free to hundreds of dollars for a bottle. It just depends on how much you want to spend and what you're looking to get. That one's kind of a difficult. For some of the other drugs, the costs category will be a little bit more interesting. But I mean, everybody knows what alcohol costs. I mean, unless you're under 21 and still trying to get people to buy it for you.
It costs your marriage.
Oh, well.
Relationships.
Damn, that was deep, Tom. Too early. We haven't gotten to that section yet. Too early.
See, but that's when you're trying to like drown your sorrows and escape. And there's a point to that. That's an act. I mean, it's a valid application for the substance.
So those are all costs.
Sure.
You're going to pay some way or another.
Okay, so let's lay it this way. Not all costs associated with this particular drug are monetary.
Well stated.
All right, there you go. Dosage amounts. So if you are going to use this particular drug, what should you look for to start off your dosage? Well, this varies vastly by the individual.
I don't know. I think you should look for the highest concentration, highest percentage, and drink as much as you can as fast as possible and
Then
see
you
what
will
happens.
Probably never touch it again. Yes, eat in and out beforehand, too.
Yes.
And you can drink it through a straw, too. So it fucks with your oxygen a little bit more. When we were younger and we were broke, we'd drink, if we had like 2 beers, we'd drink it through a straw.
Oh,
Because you get a high from the oxygen just using a straw.
Or you could bypass your kidneys and just take it rectally.
That's a thing, dude.
That, and you know what? That was
That actually never crossed my mind, Rick. But
Probably because you have some dignity left.
Not just trying to shove up your ass.
I'm not injecting Jack Daniels in my veins
Oh
yet.
man, and that is actually a section I completely missed and should have. Now I'm going to add method.
Butt chug?
Yes, getting turned upside down and having a shot poured down my ass. I like it. No, methods of
think it's
Hey,
up your
man,
ass.
whatever you're into.
methods of administration. That's another section I want to add because certain drugs can be done in different ways. And alcohol, we'll add that here afterwards. But let's go back to dosage amounts. It varies vastly by individual, height and weight, food and stomach, your particular body's ability to metabolize alcohol, all of these criteria play into how alcohol affects you, how long it lasts in your system, how long you stay intoxicated for, how much you can drink before you die or throw up, give yourself oxygen poisoning, all the other side effects, which we'll get into.
Also addiction.
Also addiction, yeah. Some people are more susceptible to addiction, which is kind of not just relative to this drug, but all drugs.
For sure. But I mean, alcohol particularly.
Yep. And also dependency as well, because your
right.
physical body can become dependent on this drug. And we'll get into that a little later. But so all of those, as far as dosages amounts to experience the effects of this drug, and that varies a lot. Like a lot of things, moderation, start small, work your way up, and you'll find your practice makes perfect. You'll find your balance here if you've never gotten into using this particular drug. Methods of administration, because we're going to add that in there now. Typically, aside from taking a turkey baster up the ass, typically this drug is just orally taken. There are orally. Do you like that word? So you drink it. There are, however, other.
That's not what orally means to me.
You take it orally from alcohol, or vice versa, right? In Soviet Russia, alcohol drinks you. But there's a couple other ones that aren't really talked about as often. There was that company, which I believe is still out there, Palcohol with a P, so alcohol with a P. You haven't heard of this?
No.
They found a way. Really?
No.
Oh, damn, you guys.
Palcohol?
Palcohol. They found a way to powder out alcohols, so hard alcohols.
Like condensed milk?
Okay, fine, I guess.
It's powdered.
It's powdered, yeah.
Powdered
so
milk.
you can carry these little packets of powdered whiskey, powdered vodka, powdered hard alcohols, and you carry the packet in, and it's like so it doesn't go out set off metal detectors, so you can sneak it into events or whatever, and then you buy your soda or you buy your drink or whatever, you pour your powder in there, and it's like each one's like the equivalent to a shot or something like that, and then you can mix your drink right there.
Wow.
Or I think you can take the powder straight. They have a gumming agent in it, so people don't do something stupid like snort it. That was an issue.
I'm curious about the chemical process and
It can't
locking
be,
it down. I mean,
it
what,
can't be good for you, but I don't know. But I think it got FDA approval too for whatever
Well,
that's worth.
that's
I know.
not worth
That doesn't say
I
much
know.
at all, yeah.
I know. The only thing I was thinking maybe that they would have looked for something if something like inherently was super super bad, they would have stopped it. But that doesn't stop the subtlety bads, right?
right. As long as they can make money off it, man, they'll pass anything.
And
by.
if it's a powder, they might be able to market it as a supplement, and it wouldn't need FDA approval.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can intravenously take alcohol. I don't know if you can hook it to an IV or something.
Just sounds
Well, there's
dangerous.
There's people who are extreme alcoholics that do inject.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can. Okay,
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
We'll add that then. I didn't have that on the list.
Yeah, you can absolutely inject it. It's a liquid. You can put it in a syringe.
Would
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you
bypass-
can inject it just because things are liquid. I mean,
Well,
without
yeah,
dying.
Yeah, but it's an easier thing to inject.
Okay.
Yeah, there's lots of cases where extreme
I did not know
alcoholics have injected.
Would that skip your
pretty
kidney
terrible.
and probably kill you as well?
Why would it
It
would
just
go through your blood
absorbs.
system?
It absorbs through your mouth. It absorbs through all your soft tissue.
Just like taking an ass shot.
Yeah, it gets into your bloodstream.
That's
faster.
the problem with the ash shot is you can overdose and kill
Oh
yourself.
fuck yeah! You can oversoak
Because
I
you're
mean,
king your body's filtration process.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. You don't hit the vomit
liver.
response.
Yeah.
oh damn! So you
Right.
wow.
Well, your
okay, I didn't think
liver
about that.
filters out the toxins. That's the how your body metabolizes it, and
Interesting.
that's what protects you from killing yourself too
Never
easily.
thought of that. Never thought of that. Well, so okay. Apparently, you can intravenously take this drug. That's boy. I hope I never have to see anybody get to that point with this stuff, dude. Wow.
That's
That's
They're
sad.
too far
That's
gone
too
at that
far.
point. Let
Yeah, I
them
think
go.
yeah. I was like, damn. Okay, so well, damn.
This is already getting dark.
It's
All right,
yeah,
Buzz
we're-
Killington, keep going.
Wow.
Have
okay.
another drink.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Now I feel like I need a beer.
well.
Intravenously.
Damn, dude. So let's see. Variations on the drug chemical. Now, again, these are sections that may or may not be totally applicable, but there was something a couple of things I wanted to throw out in here. I don't know if you guys have ever thought of that, but I had definitely thought of it. And that is, what is the difference between isopropyl rubbing alcohol and the kind that we drink, ethyl? Ethyl. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. ETHYL, ethyl. And there are actually many different types of alcohol, and isopropyl is poisonous,
Yes.
as is denatured alcohol. And as I read it, and I don't know how true this is, but as I read it, denatured alcohol, a lot of these types of alcohol, other than the drinking one, are either used as fuel or as not degreasers, but for cleaning
Solvents.
Solvents. There you go. Thank you. A solvent for cleaning purposes. And as I understand it, when denatured alcohol came about, it was around the Prohibition time, and they added something in it to make it poisonous, so that people weren't buying denatured alcohol and drinking it to get drunk. I did read that you. Again, we're not condoning any of this kind of crap. So if
We're
you
just
wanna,
talking about it.
Yeah, we're just talking about it. Isopropyl alcohol. Apparently, you can drink that stuff. However, it is harsh and very, very bad for you, and you can kill yourself a lot easier with that stuff than you can apparently with normal alcohol. So it is highly recommended to not ingest isopropyl alcohol.
If you're that desperate, just brew your own.
I mean, damn, do something else, because apparently that stuff is really bad. But anyway, it's something I was thinking about. I was like, well, what's the difference with these alcohols, and can you actually drink these? And well, now I know. No, I don't want to touch that.
Technically, yes. Survivability is questionable.
You probably won't like the results very much. Let's see. It is made from many different types of fruits, vegetables, and plants through the utilization of yeast to ferment. And so there's all different types of alcohol that can be made.
Alcohol is yeast pee.
Ew.
I thought it was poop.
Pretty much. It's their excrement.
Right.
Nice. So things like rice for
like
sake, grapes for wine, potatoes for vodka, and then there's not all vodka is made with potatoes. There's lots of different ways to make vodka. There's lots of different ways to make.
It is the best, though.
Okay, there you go. Then, well, there you go. I'll take your word for
That's
it.
just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
It's more filtered than
You don't like
a lot of
potato
other stuff.
vodka?
Potato vodka?
Yeah.
I've got no issues with it.
I don't think I've ever had it.
A lot of vodka
Most-
is actually potato.
yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. But I mean, then they were saying all kinds of other vodkas that are made from different fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, vodka's one of those that has a lot of different processes to it.
I'm partial
There's
to
a
my
rice
scotch.
vodka.
To scotch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, years ago, someone told me that you know you're a real alcoholic when you drink gin.
Gin.
Oh, dude, gin is rough.
It's rough. I've drank gin once with a buddy of mine, and I swear I couldn't get the smell of it out
It's
of my
very
body
dry,
for like,
dude. Like a gin and tonic
several
is like
days.
the driest wet drink I've ever had.
right?
It's weird.
Snoop Dogg likes it though.
Gin and juice, dude.
Gin and
you
juice.
You got to put that juice in there to
yeah.
lube it up, dude. Like,
That's a lube it up. It's like the Kool-Aid. You say put Kool-Aid in something?
yeah, I mean,
There was one time in my life that I've drunk gin. One.
I've had a few gin and tonics, but like I said, they're very dry. Isn't a white linen gin based?
I don't know.
Okay, it's one of the signature drinks at one of the bars we hit or whatever. And I thought I tried
Scotch
it.
is rough though too. Though Scotch is.
Can be, yeah, definitely.
If you get nice scotch, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah,
Like
good
tequila.
expensive Scotch. But that's the thing with alcohol too, is if it's good expensive, it's a little different.
Going back to cost, yeah, definitely. I mean, some of those alcohols, I believe they're overpriced, but nevertheless, you do get a better tasting alcohol and therefore better experience
Yeah.
from buying something more expensive. And that varies greatly too, because I mean, if you're talking your bottom shelf like Gordon's or Pop-Off vodka,
$2 Chuck.
I mean, dude, that stuff is horrible, harsh, and nasty. But then you go and get something like, I mean, Grey Goose is pretty nice. It just tastes a lot better. Or tequila is the one that I definitely taste the differences between the more
Agave.
expensive ones. Yeah,
Do not buy any alcohol out of a plastic bottle.
yeah, for real.
Uh,
Even though Seagram's has been my go-to for days.
yeah, well,
it's $14 a handle, man.
alcohol is a solvent. Solvent.
That's a damn good point.
It breaks
wow.
down the plastic container. So when you
man,
drink
dude.
alcohol that comes out of a plastic container, you are drinking your plastic bottle.
However, I'm already poisoning myself. Let me poison myself without
Yeah, but
thinking
you-
about
you-
more
you
poisoning
double
myself.
down on
I'm
that.
You could Trader Joe's has it's called Vodka of the Gods. It's a gallon for like $11 or something like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Wow.
Is it plastic or is it glass?
I think it's plastic too.
I wouldn't touch it.
I never thought of that. That's a good point. Interesting. Let's see here. Again, we're still in variations on the drug and chemical or chemical. Some have been believed to have psychedelic ingredients, and this one in particular I'm talking about is absinthe.
Absinthe,
Yeah.
the green fairy.
The green fairy, and supposedly the wormwood that is used in the
yes.
fermentation process has psychedelic properties. However, I read that first of all, absinthe in its original form or formula recipe is no longer legal in the U.S.
Nope.
It hasn't been for many, many years. So you can't even get the real absinthe. That stuff that they sell in the store that's called absinthe is not the real absinthe. On 2 counts. The first, it doesn't have wormwood. The second is the proof, the amount, the percentage. And maybe that's another category we should put is how is it measured? So in alcohol, if you, again, it sounds funny talking about this because most people probably already know this, but I know there's people out there that don't know this stuff. If you look at the bottom or the side label or whatever of beer or hard alcohol or anything, Actually, a lot of wines don't show it, but anyway.
Beer will have like an alcohol per volume
percentage, yeah,
but not a proof.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. So, what kind of you can take if you see a percentage, you can double it, and that's the proof. If you see a proof, you can have it in percentage, but usually people don't do that. I just double all percentages and think of them as proofs. But proof is really only for harder alcohols. Percentages are for beers and wines. And sometimes
so like 80, because that's a math that I learned years ago. Like 80 proof something, it's 40% alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
That Bacardi 151.
Yeah, and that's
that was my go-to for.
And I don't even think 151 is 151 anymore.
No,
it's not. Yeah, it's like
California.
Now it's
not
70,
in California. Yeah, something ridiculous.
like 70 proof.
Yeah, Everclear back in the day to date ourselves. Everclear used to be 197 or something like that, and now it's like 100. Like they don't even let it get close to that anymore. But they still have the name out there to sell it. But yeah, it really used to be. So pure alcohol, 100%, then if you double the proof, would be 200 proof. That's pure alcohol.
Yeah.
It's not even legal in the States, period, to sell pure alcohol.
It's more of like a moonshine kind
You have
of
to
thing.
make it, and you have to know how to make it, and you have to hate yourself, because I don't know why I don't know why you would drink something like that.
Dude, when we used to tour in the 90s in the South, in like South Carolina, North Carolina, areas like that, there would be times when we would hang out with different bands and they would have actual moonshine. And it is,
when I was in high school,
it'll change your opinion of booze.
Dude, when I was in high school, somebody handed me a shot of Everclear back when it was 190 or whatever the hell it was back then. Dude, I couldn't even breathe it in. I felt like it was burning my nose hairs.
You're drinking fire.
I did not take the shot. I couldn't do it. That scared me. I was like, what is this crap, dude? I was like, it's Everclear. No, it was, I don't want to say that. Yeah, I can tell you later who it was, but no, it was at a party at somebody's birthday party. And they had older brothers and sisters who had it and brought it over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, no, I'm cool. However, I guess it's kind of cool to take one shot and then be cool for the night. You know, I mean, not that there's other substances you can do that with, but.
Yeah, if you don't puke.
If you don't throw it back up immediately, right? You just deal with your throat burning the rest of the evening. Okay, so back to wormwood in absinthe. So one of the things that I was reading about is that I'll take a step back. A lot of people gave the nickname to absinthe as the green fairy drink, because people would claim that they would see a glowing green light or something visiting them due to the supposed hallucinogenic properties of absinthe. And wormwood, which was used in the fermentation process, does have, I can't remember, it's like thyrine or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it does have a property to it that is psychoactive. But from what the research I was reading about that was done, there wasn't enough of it to actually cause any hallucinogenic experiences. So they were saying they were claiming from this particular article that wasn't what was causing this. What they fell back on, which I think is kind of weird, but maybe not, was that back in the day, absinthe was 140 proof. So people are drinking absinthe all night. They're getting stupid drunk, and they are tapping into these psychoactive substances that exist in the psychoactive properties of alcohol in general. Now, I've drank my face off plenty of times to all different sorts of states, and I've never seen any visualizations or hallucinations that I can recall.
Me
so
either.
I don't know if I fully believe the findings of this particular article.
You can hallucinate on alcohol.
You can, huh? Okay, so maybe I
believe you can. I don't feel like I ever have.
I've never experienced it. I've seen it.
Really?
And as someone recovering.
Wow. Okay, so maybe somebody sipping on a regular basis 140 proof alcohol is probably an alcoholic, because I mean that's some serious that's some serious crap.
Well, that was probably what they had back then.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what you're drinking.
Yeah.
So if you're drinking like nightly beer or whatever, you're drinking absinthe instead, or taking shots with dinner and then whatever afterwards. Who knows how much they abused it?
If you're drinking absinthe with dinner, you got a problem.
And if you think back,
well, how's that any different than like Russians taking a shot, with dinner, or Italians doing grappa? I mean, that's some cultures do that. They don't drink all night long off the stuff, but that's just how you help digest. And they say it helps digest your food, right?
Yep.
I mean,
that's where the Italians do it.
So there you go.
And then if you think about like the manufacturing process back in the day with like absinthe, like when Picasso was drinking that stuff, who knows how well regulated this was. So one night you can drink a whole bottle by yourself, and the next night you have 2 drinks and you're off your ass.
Yes. On top of that, they were saying by some of the manufacturing processes, there could have been molds, like in ergot alkalis or whatever, which cause all kinds of other psychoactive.
Hallucinogenics.
Yes.
Yeah,
so that was.
Were you
possible
drinking
too.
out of a 10 cup?
Yeah, there you go, dude. A lead cup, dude. So you're getting lead poisoning too. And who knows what other factors went into that creation of that name? But I don't know that it has ever been legal in the U.S. I don't know, maybe a long time ago. the
It
original
probably was
recipe,
back
but
in the day.
maybe before they knew
Yeah.
what it was and took it away. But anyway, so that was an interesting variation on. Oh, go ahead.
Ladlum was legal in the U.S. in the 1800s, and that was alcohol and opium.
That's what that stuff was, right? They used to
Yeah.
use it as medicine, and people
Yeah.
would get addicted to that little bottle of that stuff. And I forgot about that.
So I would imagine absinthe would have been very much the same thing, just not as
Wow.
a medicine.
Wow. Yeah, just like cocaine used to be used for all medical purposes too, right? I mean, a numbing agent.
They still use
what-
it as in medicine.
Yeah, all of our anesthetics are cococaine based. Not all of
Yeah.
them, but a lot of our
of them
anesthetics
are.
are cocaine based.
And that's why cocaine's not a Schedule 1 drug, because it
not.
has a medical application, right?
I did not know
Morphine
that.
is not a Schedule 1 drug, but heroin is. For whatever reason, in the manufacturing process, they've determined that heroin doesn't have a medical application, so it's Schedule 1.
because the
Marijuana-
pharmaceuticals can make money and they pay for
Right.
the lobbying.
And,
So
it,
that's
and it
why-
was started early enough in the system that they got it in there, and they've been using it. Yeah. No, I'm totally. Yeah. It's kind of crazy how that whole. Yeah.
It's-
Whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic, dude. That's our government. That's our government.
And
Government.
what's the other substitute to heroin that's killing people pretty
Oh.
quickly right now?
Oh, damn it! What's that
It's
called?
like a cheaper alternative to
Yeah.
heroin.
I don't know.
Fuck.
I wasn't prepared to talk about heroin tonight.
Sorry.
Thought this was about alcohol.
Moving on. Yeah.
Are you talking about crocodile?
No.
Because that shit's
That's supposed
nasty.
to be
I've
kinda
seen
crazy,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible. What it does to people. Anyway,
It's like a Russian thing.
yeah, it's a Russian. That's what it was in Russia. I'd read about it, or I seen a little short documentary about it.
Damn
It's-
Putin.
it tends to rise where there's a large heroin addiction.
Because it's cheap. And it's a cheap substitute for it. Yeah, that's different, though. He's talking about something else. I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of the name either. Okay, then another section here. Nicknames and street names for this particular drug. So
The hooch.
Yeah, I had to find. Yeah, so we got hooch, we got juice, hard stuff, the sauce,
Booze.
moonshine, booze,
Moonshine.
vino, suds, liquid bread, liquid courage.
Liquid courage.
And
Mommy's
drank-
Little Helper.
That's it. And drank.
Drank.
Or grandpa's cough syrup.
yeah.
Nice.
Those are some names. Boy, when we do one on weed, that list
Go
is
on for
gonna be
days,
long.
yeah.
I
Giggle
saw-
juice.
Yeah, yeah. I saw a poster one time that was it was a big, huge. It was a 2 by 3 foot poster, or whatever, standard size or whatever, whatever it is. Anyway, and it's a big old bud leaf, and inside the whole bud leaf was made of words, and all of it was words for names for weed. They filled up this massive
Nice.
poster with tons of different names for weed. It was hilarious.
It's awesome.
I like the hooch. That's my
yeah.
favorite term.
It's the hooch or the sauce, dude.
The sauce. That's a good one too.
Yeah, you can say you're sauced. I love it.
Right.
Tanked.
Tanked.
All right. Well, those are nicknames for being
Yeah,
drunk. That's
for
different.
being
That's for
drunk,
being
yeah.
under the effect. That maybe I should add that.
See?
Yeah,
It's a
there
whole
you-
nother list we forgot there.
yeah, nicknames of under the influence.
If you guys out there know any, throw them out.
hell yeah, dude.
Let's get a register of terminology for being drunk.
Make our own poster out of
Right.
like a booze bottle.
Hey, you can put that little book with the X's on there and
Right,
fill the
yeah.
whole booze bottle with names for alcohol.
Shit housed, hand boned.
Shit, it, dude. Shit faced. Oh yeah.
Three sheets to the wind.
Three, I love that. Three
That's a good one,
sheets
too.
to the wind, dude. That's great. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I didn't think about names for being under the influence. That's great. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna add that section to this. So as you can see, guys, it's gonna be a work in progress for this particular series. This is the first one we've done.
We're gonna
so
have to drink our way into it.
Yeah, we have to dose our way into these topics here. Let's get into a little bit about the effects of the drug. It does. So this I want to start this one off here. Some people claim that the type of alcohol affects alters their effects. So, for example, you feel different when you're drunk on tequila versus whiskey.
Oh, absolutely.
Like more ornery.
I don't know.
Ornery.
Ornery.
That's a good one.
I don't know. I've never really thought that before. I've known
Oh
the
yeah.
subtle
Well, I
effects,
mean,
but
dating. I've had girls that like you give them tequila and they get mean.
so
I've known lots of people who drink tequila and get mean.
Wow. And so I never really experienced that myself, but we did. One of my cousins, he had told us not to give him hard alcohol, especially whiskey. And we were in Vegas, and we've been.
And did you heed his warning?
I
They
I
wanted
did
to see what would happen.
I did
Right.
until he.
Yeah, another part of me is like, fuck, give him some more.
I did until
Break out the video
he,
camera.
It's like giving a gremlin water. after
don't feed it
midnight.
after midnight. Yeah, it's like feeding a criminal after midnight.
What's the worst that could happen?
That's exactly.
We're in Vegas.
That's exactly how it went down too. And what happened is he got drunk too, and we were all drunk. So we're what you want a shot? You know, because we carry around a flask with it. Okay, sure. You know, like, what do you say to one of your buddies when he asks for a drink?
Well, that's the thing when you're drinking booze, your inhibitions go way down.
Yeah. So we forgot what he told us, and that it did not. He did get violent. He did get very angry, and it was like, wow, dude, like. What the fuck happened to you, dude? I like what? Anyway, that really weirded me out. I probably personally don't have anything major that happens to me different. The only thing
I'm a fun
there you go.
drunk.
I love being. I'm happy when I'm drunk.
I'm a
anyway.
happy drunk. I'm a very, very happy. But there are other people who turn into a nightmare.
Which
Like
is
Dr.
terrible.
Jekyll and Mr.
Yes.
Hyde.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Totally.
And it's weird because I think with alcohol, it's one of those. Alcohol is one of those drugs that, first of all, we should recognize it as a drug, and in the altered state that you go into, and a lot of people who drink alcohol become aggressive and violent. It seems to be a heavy trait with a lot of people. I mean, I've had lots of people I've drunk with and had parties and stuff with it. And I've always said, for me, I feel like alcohol is the gateway drug.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's my argument with that is like I can take anybody you want and go, okay, we'll spend 2 nights partying. The first night we're going to party, we're going to smoke weed and hang out and do things. And the worst that's going to happen is you're going to pass out or eat all my Doritos.
Yeah.
And then the second night we're going to go get shit-faced drunk, and I can talk you into anything.
Yeah.
When I guarantee you, almost anybody who gets shit-faced drunk, you can almost talk them into anything.
Here, hold
get
my
that
beer.
liquid courage, the whole. I mean, it's
Hold my
just,
beer. I'm about to do this.
right? Yeah, you get drunk and you'll take other drugs. You get stoned on weed, and you're like, "Hey, you want to try some heroin?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm falling asleep."
I have definitely-
You get people to get drunk; they'll try anything.
I have definitely fallen victim to that a number of times.
You get drunk and you're like, "Sure, it sounds a good idea."
Drop acid? Oh, okay, that's great.
I'm already drunk.
Hey, Ben, open your mouth.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on being up for all night, next 20 hours, but all right, here we go. Yeah, you can definitely get more than you bargained for on that drug. That's for sure. Let me see.
Why
here.
they have that phrase, hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
You know,
dude.
I'm about to do some dumb shit.
Yep.
Right? What's the last thing a hillbilly said before he got shot? Watch this.
Jeez.
She looked 18.
Oh man, that was too real. That was too real. So some other effects that we run into. Slurred speech is definitely one.
What are you talking about?
Unsteady gait or walk. You get your can't you got the rubber feet going on.
Right?
Balance.
Balance. Yeah, your balance kind of goes out the window.
Judgment.
Because it's essential nervous suppressant, right?
Right,
So it
right.
affects all that crap as you begin to go down that rabbit hole. Intense emotion and or mood changes.
I love you guys.
Right?
Yeah, I give a lot of hugs when I'm drunk.
Right.
You
It's
guys-
true.
You guys,
That's-
it's true.
Right? That's the part about being a happy drunk. And like for me, I try not to get super drunk when drinking because it just makes me feel bad. In general, like next day my body just
next
doesn't feel
day,
good.
yeah. Ibuprofen is your new
But
best
we've
drug.
all been through that.
Oh, yeah.
The smart thing to do is when you're drinking and you're getting to that point, take some aspirin or something before you pass out.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yeah.
God, I wish I had.
So there you go. There's ways to there's another section. Ways to deal with the drug. I like that. So yeah, if you guys don't know, that's one.
But we've all spent those nights just hating ourselves for being so drunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Powerade,
but there are ways,
Gatorade,
just like you
learning
said,
your limits, I guess. I don't know.
Drink.
there are ways
other
to
things while you're drinking.
to continue.
Water.
There you go.
There
There are
you
ways
go.
to continue to dose yourself. If you're out of the bar, or even if you're home, remember to keep a glass of water there. Drink the fucking water, and before.
Well, that's another thing that people don't understand about alcohol is it dehydrates you.
That's the problem. That's why we get the horrible hangovers. It's one of the
Yeah.
reasons you get the horrible hangovers.
Yeah.
And the
So if you
headaches.
drink Coke, and that's another thing. A buddy of mine for years, he was like, "Man, I really love Jack and Coke." So I always have hangovers. I was like,
Coke's-
"Drink water."
Coke, drinking
Remove the
Coca-Cola,
Coke.
period.
Yep.
Destroy. I can't drink Jack and Cokes anymore. I have to mix Jack with other stuff now. Apple juice for Apple Jacks.
And
Really?
I think the high
He
sugar.
got me on it. Rick got me
It's
on
the
it.
sugar.
The
It-
high
that's
sugar
what it
really
is.
fucks you up too. It makes you feel more drunk and more hungover the next day.
It totally does.
Absolutely.
And if you have higher quality alcohols, the hangover is not as bad. And I think that's probably because the ingredient quality is better that goes
Yeah,
into it.
totally.
But nowadays, Coca-Cola can't do it no more, dude. It makes me
Yeah,
sick the
me
next
either.
day. No
yeah,
good.
but if you're gonna get not that we're promoting being out drinking, but everybody drinks, and if you're gonna drink and you're gonna try to drink a little bit more responsible, if you're gonna have a beer, have a water in between each drink.
Or hard alcohol, same thing. And you might get shit from people, and they might say, "Oh, why are you trying to sober up?" No, that's not it at all.
Just
man.
trying to be healthy.
That's it. Yeah, you're not going to sober up faster just because you drank some water. Now, maybe if you ate some food, you'll sober up a little faster. Maybe depends on how much you have to drink and
if you eat something bready that can
soak it up.
Absorb it.
immediately after drinking, but I mean, if it's been any length of time,
It's
that's
already in your
not gonna
blood,
do
and
something
that's the
else.
thing is it's already in your blood. You got to let it run its course, and you're good.
pray to the porcelain god and wait for time to go by.
Oh man, I've been there, done that.
Yeah, I've had a couple nights where I felt like I was definitely going to die from alcohol.
Yeah.
I've never had those moments from any other drug.
I had
Yeah,
plenty of nights
no.
I wished I would have died.
Right?
Like, just take me now. Fuck this.
Yeah, I'm done. This
got-
sucks.
I mean, a couple nights where I blacked out, or I legitimately do not remember most of the nights. I
Yeah.
have little
Dude,
snippets.
blackout is scary.
That
Oh,
was, that
dude,
was the
it's
next thing on my
fucked up.
list, guys. Blacking out, or so for those that don't know what blacking out, let me give you. I tried to sum it up as best as I could when I was putting these notes together here. You are conscious, so as far as everybody else is looking, you're awake. You might be talking stupid and really, but you are awake and you are functioning. But you in your head are not aware that you're even awake anymore.
Yeah.
You've
It's
checked
just you have
out.
no memory of what's happening at that time. You don't really know what you're doing. You're reacting to stimulus from other people. I mean, you can function. I have walked all the way down the Vegas Strip, rode the monorail, got up the stairs to my hotel room, made it into my room,
Booked
and
a
onto my bed.
Hey, true
Woke
story
up in
here.
Odessa.
Okay. I started the night in Sacramento.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning in Santa Cruz on the beach wearing just shorts. Like, I have no idea where my shoes went, my
your
shirt,
butt
my
hurt?
car keys. No, my ass was in tip-top shape. Thank you very much. No weird sores or anything like that, but
See what happens.
hell of
when
a
you, see
question.
what happens when you take shots up your ass, Glenn.
See, I would argue that you're not conscious. I would argue that the captain of the ship has left the room and you're on autopilot.
Elvis has left the building.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're on
Two
autopilot.
fries short of a Happy
Yeah.
Meal. I mean, you're out of it, dude. And some people get really weird. Some people get it. The other interesting thing too about that state, when you see somebody who's blacked out, if they are the violent type or they are the stupid
Right.
happy type,
Absolutely.
they can't control it at that point. There's
Yep.
no shutting them down. There's no. The best you can do is walk them into a corner.
They're like a wild tiger at the mall.
It's like a fully grown 3-year-old.
You just got to
Yeah.
sedate them and
It's-
hope for the best.
I mean, you really have to babysit people when they get. I mean, not all people, but a lot of people who get if they have.
Gotta
some adverse
hold their
effects.
hair.
Oh yeah, I've definitely held my share of hair. That's
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, I used to party at the Sigma Nu house. I've held lots of pretty girls' hairs as they puke all over the floor in the hallway.
That sucks, dude. That's no fun. Yeah. Okay. So those are some of the effects of the drugs that I had. Unless you guys can think of anything else that you thought was humorous, but yeah. That's,
Oh, I can think of lots more, but we'll move on.
save the stories for the end. That was yeah. So at the end, I'm hoping we can throw some of our own personal experiences in or whatever. But anyway, continuing through some of the bad side effects of this particular drug, there is a definite toxicity level to this drug, and as you continue dosing yourself, or somebody doses you, continually doses you on this one, you can black out, then you can lose consciousness, and you can ultimately die off of this stuff. And you can also die just from losing consciousness. There's no shortage of people who have choked on their own vomit by passing out on their back from alcohol poisoning.
Bon Scott. We
Yeah.
lost Bon Scott that way.
We've lost a lot of great
So,
people.
a lot of great people that way.
Jimi Hendrix died
Well,
that way.
yeah, and we also lost John Bonham that way.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Long-term exposure to alcohol, because it is it's a strong acid, right? It's very, very acidic.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll through constant exposure, it'll actually change your body's pH level. Oh God! So if you are a long-term heavy alcoholic and try to quit cold turkey, it can kill you.
Yes.
Because
Physical dependency.
right?
Yes.
So it changes your body's pH, makes it brings it down, right? So more acidic, and our bodies are incredibly resilient to changes in acidity level. We can go down in the pH scale. We can expose ourselves to stronger acids, but if we go up in pH into the base scales, it'll kill us faster than anything else. Wow. And so when you cut cold turkey, you've had this strong low pH that you're exposing your body to on a regular basis. When you drop that off, your body's still trying to counteract that pH change. So you'll shoot up, and yeah, totally.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it's
and
like
isn't the pH level in a body like 7 or something or something?
That's neutral.
It's neutral, right?
7 is
Seven.
neutral.
7 neutral.
I don't know what the
I don't know
body
what
is.
we are. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that the enzyme that your body releases while you're using to help bring it back to equilibrium.
Right.
And then you quit cold turkey, your body's still used to releasing that
Exactly.
enzyme, and now you've gone into a basic state and you die.
Totally.
Also, for people that are using when they die, since it's such alcohol is a depressant, it'll slow down your respiratory system.
Central
to
nervous
where
system
you asphyxiate.
suppressant. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what causes that, yeah. So, yeah, Glenn, that was actually the next thing I was going to do that Glenn already alluded to. It is addictive and also causes physical dependency. So, yeah, it's more than just being addictive. Your body will get to the point where it needs it to survive, and that is a very, very bad place to be. And the withdrawals are supposed to be extremely bad.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it'll kill you. Withdrawing from heroin won't kill you. You'll wish you were dead, but alcohol will kill you.
Yep. So you have to. So if you don't know any about that, typically they'll give you an in-between drug to wean you off. So basically, they get you addicted to another drug that is easier to get off of, to get yourself off of the harder drug. In this case, alcohol. I don't know what the
Methadone is one of those.
Well, I thought that
for
was just for heroin.
It's for heroin.
Or
Yeah, it is
opiates.
for heroin. And I think they use it from other stuff too, but it's
I know they
mainly
tried
for heroin.
it. So I know they tried it with alcohol, and one of the things that they're working on too with alcohol in particular is psychedelics.
Yep.
Psilocybin to
Yep.
get you off. The Indians have been using psilocybin to get themselves off of alcoholism for long time.
Yeah.
So they're experimenting now that the reins are getting a little looser on psilocybin testing, as far as the government control is concerned, to get people off of alcohol addictions. So
But would that be more of like the mental state, like a psychological correction?
that
not
would
the
be
physical
that would be the
dependency?
addictive side,
Okay.
not the physical dependency side. The physical dependency side, I don't know what they have to
I
do
think
for
you
that.
just have to wean yourself off of it, get yourself to a balanced state.
Like kind of like nicotine, where you do the patches and go
Yeah.
less and less and less and less to try and get yourself.
Although, yeah, better to go cold turkey with nicotine.
Really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
That's how I quit. I smoked for off and on for probably like 15 years or
Really?
something.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, from the time I was like probably like my mid-teens to like late 20s. And I was never like a full-time smoker, but I was just like, at some point I was like, this is disgusting. I just don't want to do this anymore.
Well, nicotine's special. It builds those. It's a neurotoxin, so it actually binds to our spinal column.
Oh God.
So it forges permanent pathways in our brains. And when you have any exposure to nicotine, it triggers those same pathways. So whether or not you are
That's how you can pick it up so easily
right,
again.
exactly. So whether you're smoking 3 packs a day or 1 pack a day, once you stop, if you smoke 1, you have brought your body back to the same level of need as you were on your heaviest use.
It leaves a permanent trace.
So
That's
weaning
terrible.
off is not effective. Just stop.
Wow. Okay. When we cover nicotine,
Sorry.
we're going into that one.
That's like the
definitely.
whole stop smoking cold turkey. Why
Yep.
the fuck would you smoke turkeys?
Smoked turkey is great, man.
Especially cold.
Dude, it's all
You
about
wanna
that
heat
burning
those
meat.
Man, you want to heat those things up first.
Smells so good.
Let's see. Let's see. We're still into bad side effects. So yeah, addiction and physical dependency. It can and does cause cancer. So this is a carcinogen.
Absolutely.
Here's a
So
li-
drink to your health.
yes, salud. I love how ironic that they say a salud, right? Instead of cheer. Yeah, that's how I love. I've always loved that one. It must be the irony that they like about it too.
That's probably because you feel great at the moment.
Yeah.
You know you're going to feel like shit tomorrow.
Yep. So you're hoping for health tomorrow.
No, yeah. Consequences are for tomorrow.
Sucks for that guy tomorrow. Yep. Let's see. Here's kind of a lesser known thing. I used to think that this was a myth, but apparently, then I learned from people who actually suffered from it. It is very true. There are people who are allergic to alcohol,
Absolutely.
and it causes because there's some of the effects are what they call alcohol flush, which is red rashes. Can be in some spots of your body or all over your body. It can cause hives. And this is actually one that I have suffered from several times. I can't even pronounce how this rhinitis, and that's basically a stuffy, runny nose. It's like you can have kind of like an allergic reaction and make your nose stuff up, and like kind of like allergies. I've had
From
that
alcohol?
happen from beer.
Oh, from beer.
Yeah, from beers is what I've experienced that from before. So there have been times when I've had I have messed up allergies, and there have been times when I've had a sinus infection. I just got sick of feeling like crap, so I'll go start drinking, and it gets worse. And you're like, awesome. So yeah, I've definitely experienced stuffy nose from beers before, and getting all clogged up. Whatever. Also eczema. They can cause eczema to break out in your skin.
Cause it to create it in the person or create reaction, create it to
An
inflammation.
An inflammation, yeah. Like so, I don't think it like gives you it permanently. I think that it's an effect from what I was reading, but I didn't go that deep into it.
So essentially, the eczema is already there. This is
Triggers
inflaming it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. That's what it sounded like to me. But I didn't read that far into it. But we already talked about too. There are the other side effects that can happen both during and the morning after. Headaches, nausea, vomiting, and those are typily the
Pissing yourself.
Waking up in strange beds.
Or beaches.
Or beaches.
or beaches.
Your level of consumption.
I've woken up draped over porch railings. I've woken up with a dog with its tongue in my mouth. That was special.
Glenn makes
We'll
out
have
with
to
dogs.
revisit that one at the story time.
Might have been more in the direction of like, wow, you were prettier last night.
Nice. She's a dog, dude. I got to go.
I mean, I don't really remember, so I can't say, but I don't think I've been that fucked up.
yeah,
I have.
I've definitely,
I'm just gonna say it.
I've definitely woken up in puddles of my own throw up. That's always fun.
Wow.
Or on the
Yeah.
or in the street in the gutter. Like, that's really
Yep,
terrible. Just need to get some air. I didn't want to stay in it all night, but that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. All right, so after we talk about all this fun, bad stuff, let me add real quick because I did want to go
Fun,
back.
bad
to
stuff.
The duration of the drug typically, well, I mean, it depends on how much you drink, but after a night of drinking, it is entirely possible to wake up still drunk the next day.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
most of the time, if you have one drink, I don't know. Again, it varies on everybody's metabolism or whatnot, but expect you have a hard drink, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, whatever, and then you're back to normal enough. You continue drinking during that time, well, you just keep compounding it, and you can pretty much sustain yourself for quite a while.
Well, that's why shots are so dangerous.
Yes.
Because people are like,
Just stacking them.
You keep stacking them, and I've had so many different girlfriends who are like, do shots. They do 3 or 4 shots. I'm like, I don't feel nothing. I'm like, give it 45
Yeah,
minutes.
give it a little bit, or have one more and then give it a little bit more. But one of the other things, so that's interesting you bring that up because one of the things I've seen, a lot of my family members only drink beer, right, and usually piss water beer like Bud Light or Coors Light, very very low
Bud Light.
alcohol. Yeah, Bud Light.
all water.
A very very low alcohol content. So your typical Bud Light or your typical American Pilsner like that is like 3.2% or
3.2,
something like
something
that.
like
Yeah.
that.
So if they decide to either step it up and start drinking nicer quality craft beers like IPAs, which get up to like 11%, or worse,
The barley wines.
yeah, oh yeah, or worse, like 16% on some of those.
Oh,
Right?
man.
Or worse, they start breaking into hard alcohol. They want to drink the way they have become socially used to drinking. And the big, especially for guys, the machismo thing with Bud Light or whatever. Shit, I can kill a 24 pack. And like, no, well, you can't kill a 24 pack of a barley wine.
Right.
You're gonna die.
Try 2.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is when they get into messing with dosing themselves with stronger alcohols, you have to learn to hold the cup and sip it and can slowly dose yourself because it's the equivalent of you drinking 10 of those piss water.
I
Coors
think
Lights.
it's a part of that macho mentality.
That's what I'm
too.
saying. Yeah, it's like I can kill 12 beers. Like,
Yeah.
well, no, you can't. You're
mean-
staying hydrated though. But all right.
If you think about it, you have between like shots and a beer. If you have a double IPA that's
8%.
12,
No, 10%. Okay, sure.
10, or
10
10,
for a double.
10,
Yeah.
it's easy.
9, 10. Yeah.
And you've got a shot that's 40 proof, which is 20% alcohol, right? So that's
Like rum.
If you think about this, a 1 ounce glass, 20% of that is actually liquor. And then if you have a 16 ounce beer that is 10% alcohol, what is that? 6% of that glass is
Oh, okay. Yeah,
actually
for 16.
alcohol.
Yeah.
So if you take that one shot, which is what
1 ounce.
1 ounce. Or
1 ounce,
whatever it
which is
yeah.
but it's 20% of that 1 ounce. So
Yeah.
you have what point?
Fuck, man, that's too much math. Get you to the point.
Anyway,
Just drink it.
the amount of alcohol that you're consuming with the beer is much greater than the amount of alcohol that you're consuming with a shot.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So with that one beer that's a higher percentage than your standard,
Yeah.
your drink math gets off. If
Yeah.
you're thinking like, oh, I had
Yes.
a shot, I had one beer,
Well,
so
that-
that's 2 drinks.
Yeah, and we all know we all have these friends who are like, oh, I can drink. It's like Ben was saying earlier, I can drink a whole case. I'm like, yeah, you're drinking piss water.
Yeah. And I don't know why that got to be a thing, how much you can
It's
drink.
macho. It's the whole macho
you're
American
dosing-
mentality.
yeah,
Dude, it was
is.
all about shotgunning those
Yeah.
the Bud Lights and
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like like the different cultures. Like in Europe, alcohol is generally a lot lower content in like wines and stuff because they sip and drink it all the time.
well, 7% versus 14% here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of craft breweries that are striving to get what is it, APV, they call ABV or something,
Yeah.
to get it up, that percentage up higher or whatever, so that they can boast. We have a triple IPA that's 15%, 14%.
But I mean, that's the thing too. Like for me, like if I'm going to drink a beer, I'm going to drink something good. So I'm okay with paying a little bit more for
Me
a
too.
beer because it's a good beer. Because I'm only going to drink one.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
I can drink.
Well, my point to bring that up was that some people have to learn how to dose themselves with different alcohols,
Right.
differently with different alcohols.
Yeah.
If you're not used to it, like I've watched them go too far, and like it's because you haven't learned yet,
Right.
because or new drinkers, younger drinkers, or whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They've been hanging out with their buddies, killing Coronas, like, oh
Yeah,
man, I
right.
drink this all the time. They come over, hang out
Get
with
a
you.
double
whatever.
IPA.
Yeah, and you give them a real beer, and they're just trying to slam it like it's a Corona, and then all of a sudden they're throwing up on you. And you're like, what the fuck, dude?
It's
Don't
also
do
a
that.
sign of alcoholism. Once you start, it's very difficult to stop. That frontal lobe shuts off, so you just keep drinking until you black out or pass out.
That's true. Yeah, that can be.
So
you're
it's
right.
a combination of the machismo or
It doesn't mean
alcoholism.
now. It doesn't mean though that if you do drink like that you are an alcoholic, but it helps to lend to that mentality for
That's
sure.
one of the characteristics to define
Yeah.
alcoholism.
So if you drink like that and don't think you're alcoholic, you're lying to yourself.
You're like, yeah. If you're killing 12 packs or every night in your garage alone by yourself watching porn,
But
on
you
your
see all
TV
those
and
crappy
everything.
beers, and I've got tons of friends that drink PBR and stuff like that all the time, and they're just like super overweight, and I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, it's because it's a filler.
Makes you fat.
You know, it's just a big fat filler that
It's
you're.
liquid bread, man.
Yeah, right?
It's just sugar. I mean,
Yeah,
alcohol
absolutely.
is
It's
a
sugar.
sugar. It
Yeah,
I
so
mean-
so you drink a 24 pack by yourself. Look how much sugar you just ingested.
right. I mean, talk about a spike in your glycemic index. I mean,
Right.
That's why it makes some people diabetic too.
absolutely.
So I'd rather spend more money on a good beer instead of.
I
just
like
drink
hard
ones.
alcohol.
So I'd rather just smoke pot.
Oh, all that too. That's a topic for a different day. But yes, absolutely. Okay, so Arthur, we've been going over all this bad stuff here. So why use this drug?
That's a great question.
It's a
a
great
good
question, right? As if you're listening to all that. Why in the hell do people do this?
well, in the beginning, it's a stimulant, right? So after your first couple, that's not necessarily
It's supposed to be I feel pretty stimulated when I'm drinking, but yeah,
Right.
right. But your first one, like you kind
But
of
it is a
feel
depressant.
relaxed.
I call it my drunk powers.
It's a social lubricant, right?
Yep.
You go into the bar or whatever, you have a beer, you're going to chill
courage.
out.
Inhibition
you start
reduction.
talking to
Well, yes,
people.
yeah, your inhibitions drop a lot.
Yeah. But then after you have a couple more, now you behave like it's a stimulant where you're ready to kind of go out and dance all night.
Drunk
or-
powers.
walk. Yeah, drunk powers.
Drunk
whatever
powers.
you want to call it.
Hell yeah,
I
dude.
forgot where I was going with that.
I'm sorry. So I had relaxation. That was the first one I had on there. A lot of people like to come home and have a shot or a nightcap or whatever. It, contrary to popular belief, it does not actually help you sleep better. It may help you fall asleep or feel tired because
But
it's a sedative.
it doesn't help you actually get rest.
Does not help you get more rest. So if you're using it to try and get better sleep, you are not helping yourself. It actually ruins your sleep in the middle of the night
Now-
after that shot wears off or
You don't
whatever.
get to
I mean,
REM.
Yep.
I think a lot of people use alcohol in an effort to convince the opposite member of sex to be less judgmental and actually sleep with them.
Damn.
I was
Glenn.
gonna-
Are you
I was
trying to
gonna-
tell me from personal experience?
I was going to put
Hey,
getting
man.
laid in there as far as a reason to drink.
I guess.
You know, whenever
man.
somebody buys me a drink, I'm like,
Awfully suspicious of you, but I
minute,
will
wait a minute.
accept.
I'm not buying you any more
I was
drinks.
just going to say, wait a minute, Glenn, I'll buy you a couple drinks.
Don't get the wrong idea here, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm not hitting on you.
I'll take the Corona challenge.
How many licks does it take?
oh man.
That's dirty, Tom.
You know, you only have to see one person get roofied before it's.
Oh, dude, that's messed up. Yeah, we'll get into that one. Increased social openness is how I put your ability to be a little more open, social butterfly-ish. I don't know. I
Yeah.
couldn't think of there is a term for it. I couldn't think of what the hell it was.
I like
but-
social.
Well, just
lubricants.
loosen
Social
up.
lubricant.
Yeah, social lubricant.
Yeah, exactly. However, when you use it that way, I've seen too many people use it that way, and wow, I am feeling great. And you keep drinking, and then you pass that usefulness.
That's why
That's
my
what you were
statement
saying.
earlier about
and then
alcohol.
you get stupid. Now you're just dumb. You're not going to meet anybody. People are going to think you're weird. Now you're being sloppy. So
Yeah.
you have to learn how to dose
You start
yourself.
telling everybody you love them.
Yeah, that's right. You have to learn how to dose yourself properly to maintain the benefit of the social lubricant.
That or people form a dependence on needing to be in that state to
Oh,
be in a social situation, and they
Right.
don't know how to. They forget how to function without it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't want to get
Yeah.
don't want to
Well,
get yourself
and,
there
and
either.
there's lots of times like I do a lot of art fairs and stuff like that, and it's like you're talking to people and you're stuff. And I learned a long time ago, have a shot, have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like
Relax.
loosen up a little bit, relax. But that's where you have to control it.
Yes, you
and
have to stop.
You have to stop, and I think that's one of the things about alcohol that is really rough, because a lot of people, when you get that feeling, you start feeling really good.
Yep.
And
You want more.
Your inhibitions drop, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I can drink it, and then you just get. That's why I've always said alcohol is a gateway drug.
Absolutely, I think so too. Okay, so adding, kind of playing off of that a little bit. Socially, it's like socially acceptable to have a drink in your hand. Like I feel awkward sometimes. Like people are looking at me, or people will say stuff. Dude,
Especially if
where's
you're at
your
a
drink?
bar or something.
Yeah, or even at somebody's house or a party or something like that. Dude, where's your drink? It's almost like a hosting thing. Like I kind of feel bad. Like if I saw Rick sitting here without a drink, I'm like, do you want something? The first thing I'll do is offer him something from the. And I mean, yeah, if you want juice or water, whatever you want. But I mean, I got beer in the fridge. Like I'll mix you a drink. I will bartend you.
See
a
how
drink.
pushy he is right now. Just trying to get you drunk. You gotta
It's
think
like last night. I'm hanging out with these fine gentlemen, and I've got a glass of wine in one hand and a vodka mix in the other hand. And Ben comes up, and says, "Hey, what can I get you?" And I'm like, "Well, shit."
Apparently, another hand.
Yeah, another straw.
Well, yeah, pour
One
the
of those-
wine into the vodka, and I'll pour you another drink.
Apparently, he needs one of those hats with the 2 beers on the top of it.
I need one of those, as a matter of fact. So, in that sense, combined with the kind of the look of fitting in, but also it's kind of a party drug. I mean, it's a social drug, and it's kind of odd of you to not to be doing it. You don't.
Well, you
fit
feel
in.
awkward. Like if you're at a bar and you don't have a drink in your hand, you feel out of place.
Yeah, and if you want to sit at the bar and talk to people, the bartenders keep coming around looking at you like, "What are you sitting at my bar for
Yeah.
if you're not buying anything?"
Yeah, you're
there's
not
other
buying
people-
anything.
Me your money.
Yeah, you're holding a seat here, man. I got other people who want to get in here. It's like, oh, damn. Well, like, there's no other place for me to sit in this damn bar but at your bar.
Right.
It feels like a pacifier. Like if I have a beer in my hand, I'm part of the group.
Yeah.
And then if there's a lull in the conversation, I just take
Yeah.
a drink to
Take a
kind
drink.
of break up the awkwardness. Like being in an elevator and pulling out your cell phone and looking at your phone, even though there's nothing to really look at there.
Because there's no
There's no
reception.
service.
Who gives a fuck? Why? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like there's
yeah.
a lull in the conversation. You got to do something to pacify that.
Yep.
That's
that
when you just like
awkwardness.
lift your knee and rip a big one.
And
You
the
do that in
elevator.
a bar too. They'll throw you out.
That or you get a roarious laughter.
Yeah, you
sounds
get
like-
that, but
sounds
you're
like-
not getting laid.
You got to
I was
gauge your
gonna say,
audience.
It's like that guy just shit his pants over there. It was hilarious, but you don't want to fuck him tonight
Sounds like a great way to stay single, man.
unless you got baby wipes in the car.
Oh, man. That's dirty. That's dirty. That's dirty. Let's see. Why use it? So we had mentioned too that it can greatly affect your emotions and your moods. However, that can be a good thing depending on how it affects you. This is one of the reasons for me personally that it heightened emotional responses. You can enjoy certain things in a whole new way. Music, for example. That's why
Absolutely.
drinking and dancing is such a good combination because it's a blast.
Yeah.
Or conversely, or on the other end of that spectrum, you can actually use it to feel more sadness and or dealing with emotions better than you can. Some people have trouble processing things when they're sober. You get drunk and it all starts flowing out, and you start
crying.
dealing with things that you weren't allowing yourself to deal with sober.
When you're alone, do you get drunk and cry?
Getting deep there now.
It's none of your business.
None of your.
Well, it's just bringing that up. Like last night, I was at the Concerts in the Park thing, and it was a good band coming up and stuff, and I was like hanging out, having a good time, just socializing and stuff. 2 or 3 beers into it, and I was like, okay, that's my limit. I know how I've learned. I'm an adult. I've learned how to control certain substances, and I know that's my limit. 3 beers, if I'm somewhere, that's my limit. I'm done. Because I don't want to feel sick or feel bad or have a hangover or whatever. But I know I can use that limit if I'm out at a club or seeing a band or something. And I just want to like relax and have fun and lose some inhibitions and just enjoy myself and dance and have a good time. It's an easy drug to use for that. But with anything, you have to remember that you have to learn your own body.
Yes.
And with
Absolutely.
everything, moderation is the key to everything.
Absolutely. And speaking of learning his own body there, I have forced Thomas to Irk and Jerk, or E&J.
Wait,
Shotzi-
what? Wait,
Shotzi-
what did you say?
Let's rephrase that one.
You never heard of E&J whiskey called Irk and Jerk?
No, but you're talking about Thomas exploring himself over here. What the fuck is going on?
Was I there?
What's in this drink?
Physically. I was going to say shots.
I do-
you were physically there, but you weren't aware.
Yeah, I
You
do
guys-
remember this night.
you guys
and I'm
ruined my.
still-
You guys ruined my fucking joke, man.
I'm still mad at Ben.
Anyway, shots of E&J and Mickey's hand grenades, dude. I mean, yeah, I had Thomas pretty messed up. He wasn't exercising his self-control that night. All right, you guys suck.
Oh, you love us.
Yeah, what were those again?
Mickey's hand grenades and
Yeah,
shots
but
of
what was shots of what?
E&J.
Oh yeah,
I think it was
I just want to
E&J.
remind myself to never drink that again.
Never.
Lessons
That,
learned.
that malt liquor, dude.
Especially with the Mickeys. I've said this before. You know why malt liquor was invented?
Why?
So teenagers can get drunk.
I mean, yeah, man.
That stuff's terrible.
Terrible. We were all super sick that next
Oh
day
my
from that
god!
one.
The next day I was
Hey,
horribly sick.
we had a blast though. I never drank with you
guess.
like that. Like I never seen Thomas.
I guess
drink
we
like
had
that.
fun.
Oh, it's like I don't remember. Nice. Okay, so another section here. Next section here. The view or the stigma from society for this particular drug. Generally, it's well accepted. I think. I mean, everybody does
If you
it.
are responsible with your use, it is. However, there is quite a bit of scorn of people that abuse it.
Absolutely, and pretty much everybody knows somebody that abuses it. So everybody's got that in the back of their head that I know somebody who's an alcoholic, and that's an ugly place to be, and puts a negative vibe on it.
I think alcohol use has been frowned upon in American culture from the beginning. The Puritans, when they came over, they
It's a weakness, right? It was looked at like being
Yeah.
weak, overconsumption.
Yeah, they weren't drinkers, and that was one of the things that they were leaving behind in Europe. So when they came over, they didn't really mess with that. And then also you have more people coming over to what do you call it? Fuck it. Moving on.
Nice. Did you lose that one, buddy?
There's
another
something in
drink.
this beer
Yeah,
over
have another
here.
beer,
I'm about
buddy.
to get
Have a-
jerked off, I think, a little later.
I do not have any Erkenjerk in stock, buddy.
None of
Yeah.
the Bill Cosby special back there in the
Right.
cupboard.
Oh, jeez, dude.
Is that too soon?
No, I was gonna say, no, the Michael Jackson one, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I got some Jesus juice up here for you.
Right. But in American culture, though, you're right. Though I mean, there is, but American culture also has been heavily defined by religion, and so there's always been this these that you're not a good person because you drank or you do this or whatever. And I don't know. You think of like a lot of the early settlers and stuff and the way things were changed and being a religious freedom thing. It's really funny that you say words like religious freedom, but it also was just basically a way for religious people to beat the crap out of other people that didn't agree with them.
Yeah.
Like drinking and things like that. Drinking in moderation has been gone forever. And when you go to places in Europe and stuff or Spain or whatever, people drink all the time. It's not a big deal. It's
part of their culture.
It's part of their culture, but we've talked about this before. You got the American culture where you limit something. You say, you can't have a drink until you're 21. It's just like winding up a clock as tight as you possibly can.
a lot of
building
that
potential?
start around Prohibition? When we really tried to push it out, and then when it brought back a lot of the
Well, one of the things that people have to remember too about Prohibition in America is before Prohibition, there was a lot of problems with alcohol abuse in America. We were not a very good culture about sustaining and moderation. We weren't a very educated culture. The American, I look at America as the teenager of the world. Because if you look at Europe and other cultures like Chinese or whatever, they've got thousands of years worth of a culture, so they've gone through a lot of these growing pains. As Americans, we haven't. And the European culture, if you can belly up to a beer and you're polite and you're acting responsible, you can drink. They don't really care so much about your age. It's just a beverage, and it's also a lower alcohol content. In America, we've got a huge alcohol content, and we have these huge restrictions. So if you tell somebody, you tell a kid you can't do that, what's the first thing the kid wants to do?
go do it.
And do it in excess. So the alcohol plays into that. I mean, everybody I know, including myself, turned 21 and turned into a raging alcoholic for a couple of years.
I was 19.
Yeah. I mean, I started earlier as a teenager, but most people I know, as soon as you turn 21, they become an idiot for a couple of years.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, whereas like the mentality in Europe would be more so you're running a marathon, and then
Right.
with the U.S. it's more of a sprint.
Yeah. How drunk can I get? How fast can I get? Yeah. And you look at like college. I mean, I said I partied at the Sigma Nu House in college, and it was like the jocks and football players, and they all had money, tons of booze, and it was just out of freaking control. I mean, the worst alcoholism I ever saw in my life was during those years.
College drinkers like
Oh,
that.
my God.
Frat college drinkers, yeah.
Right.
So as far as the way society views it, it is available everywhere. I mean, there's bars everywhere in every supermarket you go to.
Depends on what state you're in.
True.
Well, there are a lot of rules, and like Thomas was alluding to, there often have religious bases to
Yes.
them. So, like in Utah, heavy Mormon population and heavy alcohol restrictions, or down in the Bible Belt in the South.
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
some counties you can't that are dry counties still.
Yeah, there's still dry counties in Kentucky.
The county that Jack Daniels is made in Tennessee is a dry county, so you can
Oh, wow.
you can purchase alcohol there now. You didn't used to be able to, but you can't consume it on site. You have to
Wow.
leave with it. And many, depending on the county, you can't buy alcohol on a Sunday.
Well, Indiana was like that. They just recently, I think, in the last set of elections in, I don't know, 2016 or something, overturned that. But yeah, you couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday for ever. It seems crazy, but you realize that like how much of a religious background America has into its politics, and that's where a lot of that stems from.
Yeah.
And you guys already mentioned too. One of the other things I wanted to say, I wanted to mention for each of the drugs that we cover in this series, in this country, you have to be 21, I think, in all states to buy alcohol. I
As
think
I
that's
understand it.
yeah.
I remember
that's
when it
all
was
states.
19 and I
What?
was 18, and I was like, oh my God. And I was going to Florida, and where it was 19, and I was 18.
Wow.
And within 6 months of me going, they changed it to 21.
I did not know
I
that
was
it was
so
19.
bummed out.
Wow.
For a long time. In the 80s, a lot of states in the United States, it was still 19.
I didn't know that. Dang. Okay. All right, we're getting a little on here in time. So the last thing I wanted to cover on this last topic I wanted to cover within these series was a little bit about our own personal experiences. So I'm kind of throwing this on these guys, throwing it on these guys on the fly here. But let's go around. Why do you use this drug? And if you can do a quick story, what's the best or worst thing you've ever done on it? So who wants to start?
God.
Right? Should I start this and you guys think about
You
it?
go for it.
Okay.
I wanna hear it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's one example. Okay, anyway. So why do I use it? I use it for a couple of different reasons. One of the biggest ones is to become more comfortable in social environments. I don't really feel comfortable around a lot of people, and rather
Takes
than
the edge off.
Exactly. Rather than trying to take a pharmaceutical or something, I enjoy being intoxicated. It makes me a lot more looser, a lot more happy, and I'm the type of person that's always constantly thinking about crap and won't shut up. So it silences the voices a bit, so I can focus on where I am at that time, enjoy my friends, feel happy. And as long as I remember to dose myself correctly, I don't have to pay for it the next day. So it's more of a mental thing for me. Now, sometimes if I'm by myself here at the house, I will drink to enjoy music much more. And I feel that it greatly heightens or can greatly heighten my enjoyment of an experience of listening to music, just chilling out and doing that. Worst or best thing I've ever done? It's the one that probably sticks with me the most. Rick was actually with me when we did this. He was going to Chico and he had his apartment out there, and we were hanging out with a couple other people. And long story short, we come out of the bar and we're just fucking wasted. It was probably 3 or 4 in the morning. And long story short, we're playing around with 22 guns and putting fucking. As if you don't know, you could take a 22 round and pull the lead projectile out of it and stick it in a bar of soap, and you have what we call a soap round. I had the ingenious idea of letting my brother's girlfriend shoot me in the ass with one of these soap rounds. Because it was a total hold my beer moment, and I was lucky as fuck that I was wearing this leather belt, and she hit me on the belt, which still bears the welt today. It has a huge it has a little 22 size indent on it, and my ass still has a scar from the welt that it left through the belt. And I'm lucky that I did. I mean, it was a clean shot, but I'm lucky I didn't have to go. I'm lucky I didn't have to go to the hospital because it missed the belt and implanted its soap, Irish Spring into my behind, dude. That's probably the best, worst thing I can remember.
That's
dumb
pretty
shit
good.
I've done from being drunk.
That was the best New Year's. The year that
It was
Ben
New
got
Year's.
shot in the ass.
It was New Year's.
Well, so that's what I mean. Alcohol, people, you get drunk, you'll do anything.
Stupid.
Well,
idea.
you have never smoked a joint and decided that was a good idea, right?
No, I'm too high. I'm too high.
That's my point.
Too busy picking apart, dude. What if, man? You know,
Right?
like,
You would have contemplated it for an hour but not done anything.
but not moved. All right, so there you go. Who's next? Glenn, pick it. Come on.
All right. So let's see. Why do I drink? I don't drink often, but it's a social experience. It does lubricate. It does kind of loosen you up. That's nice. I really enjoy the flavor and the complexities of nice beers.
There you go.
I do have a little experience brewing beer, so there's. I'm interested in the way the different blends play on the tongue and how that works, and so there's some interest there for me. And yeah, but let's see. Experiences.
Best or worst thing you've ever done on alcohol?
All right,
I don't know.
so Jägermeister. Any of you guys?
God.
Jaeger bombs.
All right.
I don't even want
So-
to talk about that one.
I still drink Jaeger bombs, so
I was young, way too young to be legally drinking, but you know,
that's how we start.
we all find a way. So I was at my buddy's house, and we each had one of the large bottles of Jaeger, not the standard like
The handle.
yeah. The big boy, and we're hanging out and talking about. I don't even remember what it. Anyway, I remember like the first like 4 sips, and by the end of the night, this bottle was empty.
Oh my God.
Do not remember it, but I mean, I've got flashes of laughing, crying, whatever shenanigans. I remember hugging a toilet, just like cradling this thing because that was my world. But the next day, I got like phone calls from 3 different girls that I was like,
Did you drunk dial?
oh my, I did.
Nice.
Oh yes, foot in mouth. I got.
Drunk dialing is a thing.
Yeah, that's that.
So then you had to sit there and be embarrassed and make make
yeah,
excuses
yeah.
for what you said.
Oh yes.
I
So
love you. I miss you.
oh totally. And you know, I mean, one was this girl that I was seeing. One was this person that I was talking to that I was apparently totally obnoxious with. Anyway, I had some explaining
That
to
is
do.
definitely a worst aspect of
Do
alcohol.
not remember it at all, but
Nice.
had to deal with the aftermath.
That happens.
There you go. Tom, you want to go?
Oh my God, I've got more than I can possibly.
I-
I've
yeah,
got
and we
so
don't-
many stories.
Yeah,
I
we're
can't even-
already over on time.
Yeah.
Keep just
Well,
lay one.
So for me, drinking, I don't drink a lot. I've drank a lot during my life. I've had episodes where briefs of time, especially when we were on tour, I didn't really drink a lot because I was always driving and trying to get us paid and being responsible. But other times in my life where I didn't have to at all, like especially most of my time in LA when I was working in TV and stuff, we partied a lot. And for me, drinking is just like, I think we've all mentioned it, it's just like a little bit of a social lubricant. You know, if I'm out somewhere, and especially music involved or going to a show or something, or I'm like, yeah, I'll have a couple drinks, maybe a couple of shots or something, and just kind of loosen up and just have fun and enjoy it and just get those inhibitions out and dance a little bit and just enjoy the evening. But I've also learned how to control it. But the reason I've learned how to control it is because I've gone way over the
Practice.
edge several times. I was at a birthday party one time in LA.
Is this your story?
Yep.
It's okay. Okay.
So we went to this place called Jumbo's Clown Room, and if you've ever been in LA, it's the greatest bar in LA. It's called Jumbo's Clown Room. It's a little hidden secret. Everybody hangs out and parties in Sunset, but if you go east, not quite all the way to Silver Lake where all the snuffy little punk kids are, there's a great little bar that a lot of really cool people hang out at called Jumbo's Clown Room.
Sounds like the title to a Rob Zombie movie.
Dude, it is. When you go into this place, it reminds you of the scene from Dusk Till Dawn at the end. When they're in the bar, it's like that.
Wow.
It's such a cool place. And I have gotten shit-faced drunk in that place so many times. One of the waitresses there, this old Russian woman, she'll take your order, and then like 45 minutes later, you're like, hey, where'd she go? And she's like, hey, how you guys doing? She's drunker than you are, serving alcohol. So it was a buddy's birthday, and we had walked from somewhere else in Hollywood, and we just kept drinking and drinking and drinking. And at some point, I don't remember drinking, leaving, doing anything, but I do remember spending about 2.5 hours puking all over the interior of my buddy's bathroom, sink, toilet, everything, just puking.
I've had friends do that
falling,
here.
not being able to do anything, and I wanted to die. I was okay with dying at that moment just to get this over with. The next morning, I found out that not only was I a complete ass to everything around me, but on our walk back, we walked past a buddy of mine's apartment at like 3:30 in the morning, who I called and demanded that he come downstairs to hang out with us at 3:30 in the morning because we were shit-faced drunk and he wasn't. So yeah, you black out and you hear those things later on that what you did, and you're just like, oh my God, the embarrassment never really fades away. I've got plenty of other stories, but yeah, the blackout thing is terrible. I learned years ago that I have a trifecta. If you're drinking beer and you do shots of whiskey and you smoke weed,
Yeah.
that's the trifecta.
Yeah.
If you do that, be ready for a blackout.
Yep. Definitely. All right, Ricker, you're up.
Awesome. I'll try to keep it short. I like to use alcohol for, like the same everyone said here, social lubricant. It's a fun part of it. Makes being in the social scene a little bit more enjoyable. But also, like my wife and I'll hang out on the couch and drink wine and watch John Wick or some shit, or when we cook and stuff like that. So I probably use it more frequently than I should, and I am one of those people that sometimes has a difficult time turning it off when I get the party started.
I'm in the same boat.
If I breach that 4 or 5 drinks, it's very difficult to turn it off. But if I can stop it at like 2 or 3, I'm good. So back in the day, when I turned 21, I was one of those individuals that overdid it regularly. I was a regular at a local watering hole, little tiny dive bar, so you could get away with a lot in there. And I'd been there for probably a year or two, so I was...
You're a local.
Yes, I was Norm. I had a...
Norm.
Yeah. They knew my drink. If I walked in the door, it was ready for me before I got to my seat and everything like that. It was a good time. Anyhow, they'd hired a new bouncer, and on his first night, it was towards the end of the evening, we were all hanging out front, smoking and bullshitting, and I don't recall how it started, but essentially it was maybe a conversation, an idea, or I took it as a challenge. I decided that it was going to be my goal to get onto the roof of the bar and stir the martini glass in their big neon sign. Now, mind you, this isn't like they call it a village, but it's a suburb of Sacramento in Fair Oaks. So the bottom floor is shops and cafes and a bar. Upstairs are apartments. So people live up here. And my drunk ass is being an asshole and being hella loud. So anyways, like I said, it was the bouncer's first night, and he's kind of like trying to feel everybody out. So I get the idea in my head that I'm going to do this. So I hop in my truck because I'm not tall enough to climb up there. I do a U-turn right in the street, and I drive my truck up on the sidewalk and park it at the door. Everybody was outside smoking and talking. So I remember clearly driving onto the sidewalk and seeing the other patrons just kind of part C for me to park my car on the sidewalk. And hopped out, jumped on the roof of my truck, jumped on the roof of the building, and was yelling for my friends to take my picture while I'm up there on this giant neon martini glass. Now, following up from that the bouncer had stayed there for many years, and the running joke was whether or not I crashed my truck into the wall of the building. Now, I'm certain I didn't touch it, but everyone's saying that I hit it, or the wall flexed, or some other bullshit like that.
The wall flexed.
But I was much more experienced than that to have hit the wall. I was lucky I didn't hit any people.
Damn.
But yeah, I had a little bit of clout there. You can't just park your car on the sidewalk and
Right.
they still serve you after that.
They gave you more after that?
Fuck yeah. Wrecking Ball was never cut off in the Stockman's
Rick
Club.
the Wrecking Ball. That's it. Wrecking Ball Rick.
I take that back. I was cut off once, but it was by a different bartender.
Didn't know you.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed that. And if you take nothing else from it, in this case, drink responsibly. Until next time. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.